Imagine a world where the Great Depression, the catastrophic economic downturn that began in 1929, never truly ended. How would this alternate history have shaped the 20th and 21st centuries? Let's dive into this what-if scenario and explore the possible ramifications in more detail.
The Great Depression caused widespread unemployment, poverty, and suffering. If this economic crisis persisted indefinitely, the 1930s and 1940s would have been characterized by chronic economic instability. Governments worldwide would struggle to find solutions, and social unrest would become a permanent fixture. The societal impacts would be profound, with many people unable to find work, leading to increased homelessness and starvation.
In the real world, the economic hardships of the Great Depression led to the rise of totalitarian regimes, like those of Hitler in Germany and Mussolini in Italy. In a scenario where the Depression never ended, these regimes might have gained even more power and influence, as people desperate for stability and prosperity would be more susceptible to extremist ideologies. The appeal of strong, authoritarian leaders promising to restore national pride and economic stability would grow, potentially leading to the establishment of more fascist and authoritarian governments across Europe and beyond.
So, should we get back to FDR and his New Deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
The United States, too, would see significant political changes. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal policies aimed to provide relief, recovery, and reform. However, if the Depression persisted, these measures might be viewed as failures, leading to increased support for radical movements, both on the left and the right. The political landscape in the United States could become highly polarized, with growing tensions between different ideological groups.
World War II was, in part, a response to the economic conditions of the 1930s. In this alternate timeline, the war might have been even more destructive, with nations more desperate and willing to take extreme measures. The war's outcome could have been different, possibly leading to prolonged conflicts and a reshaped global power structure. The prolonged economic depression could also mean that countries would have fewer resources to devote to the war effort, potentially leading to a longer, more drawn-out conflict with even higher casualties. Post-World War recovery, driven by initiatives like the Marshall Plan,
For some reason I want to shout out, we are Marshall.
might never have taken off. The persistent economic depression would hinder reconstruction efforts, leading to prolonged poverty and instability in war-torn regions. Europe, in particular, would struggle to rebuild its cities and economies, leading to a slower recovery and continued hardship for millions of people.
Economic hardship stifles innovation and progress. The technological advancements we saw in the mid-20th century, from the space race to the development of computers, might have been significantly delayed. Cultural movements, like the counterculture of the 1960s, which were fueled by economic prosperity and a desire for social change, might not have emerged. The arts and sciences would suffer as funding for research and development would be scarce, and many talented individuals would be forced to focus on mere survival rather than creative pursuits.
A never-ending Great Depression would reshape the social fabric of nations. The gap between the rich and the poor would widen even further, leading to entrenched social hierarchies and limited social mobility.
Yeah, I'd like to make the rich poor and me rich. Yeah, we got no love, we got no bread.
Education and healthcare systems would suffer, as governments would struggle to fund public services. Many children would be unable to attend school, leading to a less educated workforce and further hindering economic growth. Public health crises could become more common, with governments unable to provide adequate medical care for their citizens. The Cold War dynamics between the United States and the Soviet Union might have taken a different turn. If the West was mired in economic depression, the appeal of communism and socialist policies might have grown stronger. This could lead to increased influence of the Soviet Union in global politics and possibly a different balance of power. The ideological battle between capitalism and communism would be more intense, with many countries potentially leaning towards socialist policies in an attempt to find a solution to their economic woes.
Interestingly, a prolonged economic depression could have some environmental benefits. Reduced industrial activity and slower population growth might lead to lower pollution levels and less strain on natural resources. However, poverty and lack of resources could also mean less attention to environmental conservation and sustainable practices. People struggling to survive would prioritize immediate needs over long-term environmental concerns, potentially leading to deforestation, overfishing, and other unsustainable practices.
By the 21st century, the world would be a vastly different place. Persistent economic hardship would likely lead to more insular and protectionist policies, with nations focusing on self-sufficiency rather than globalization. International trade and cooperation would be minimal, and global organizations like the United Nations and the World Trade Organization might not exist or hold much influence. Countries would be more likely to close their borders and focus on their internal problems, leading to a fragmented and divided world. Technological advancements we take for granted today, such as the internet, smartphones, and renewable energy technologies, might be in their infancy or non-existent.
Yeah, I hardly got cell phone or Wi-Fi service.
The pace of scientific discovery would be slower, with fewer resources allocated to research and development. Many of the conveniences and innovations that define modern life would be delayed or never materialize, affecting everything from communication to transportation.
Despite the bleak outlook, human resilience and ingenuity should not be underestimated. Communities would find ways to adapt and survive, fostering strong local networks and support systems. Art, music, and literature might flourish as means of expression and coping with hardship. The human spirit is remarkably adaptable, and even in the face of prolonged economic depression, people would find ways to persevere and maintain a sense of hope and community.
Ultimately, a world where the Great Depression never ended would be marked by persistent economic struggles, political upheaval, and slower technological progress. However, it would also be a testament to human resilience and the enduring hope for a better future. This alternate history scenario reminds us of the profound impact economic stability has on every aspect of our lives and the importance of striving for a more equitable and prosperous world. Reflecting on this what-if scenario highlights the interconnectedness of economic policies, political stability, technological progress, and social well-being. It underscores the importance of proactive measures to prevent economic crises and the need for robust safety nets to support people during hard times. While we cannot change the past, understanding these dynamics can help us build a better future, ensuring that the lessons of history guide us towards a more resilient and inclusive global society.